Hey YouTube, Jack here with Jack's Low Carb Journey. I believe it's episode 26. We are in day 57 of my journey. Not a whole lot to report on weight loss over the weekend. I weighed in last week at 218.6 pounds on Friday, and I weigh in at 218.2 today. So I've lost about a quarter, a little more than a quarter, 4/10 of a pound. Now, I'm going to tell you that over the weekend, on Sunday, I actually weighed quite a bit less, and it's because I broke one of my own rules. I decided after 50 days in on this thing, and having lost almost 12% of my entire body weight in 50 days, that I had some friends coming over, and while we didn't cheat on keto directly, in other words, we did not go over on carbohydrates. We did have a few drinks, a few more than I should have. And it did exactly what see, this is the thing. When I tell you something happens, it's because I've probably done it, and I've experienced it, and I know what's going to happen. It did exactly what I said. I dropped almost a pound between Saturday and Sunday morning. And then Sunday morning, I had to drink a lot of water and stuff to rehydrate, because alcohol is a diuretic. It dehydrates you. And I put it all back on. And it's just that one, boom, like that. And if you drink a lot of alcohol one night, that's what you're going to see. You're going to go, wow, drinking helps. No, it doesn't. And that meant that Sunday was pretty much a recovery day for me. So that set me back. And I'm very upfront about what I do. I'm very transparent about what I do. I don't try to pretend to be something I'm not. We all have vices, and I do like to drink. I have not drank significantly in the 50 odd days I've been doing this. And this is the most I've drank in 2 months. And I won't do it again. I will not, usually I let myself have a glass or two of wine a week, right? So I will not have any wine this week. I might have a glass of wine Saturday or Sunday this coming weekend, but this week I will not touch alcohol. I'll give my body the opportunity to recover from what I did to it. And I have to look at things that way, especially while I'm trying to lose weight. So basically I took like I said, it's like a computer. And if you think about a computer, if you run a very intensive program on a computer, there's my granddaughter going off. But if you run a really resource-intensive program on a computer, you might have to shut down all the other programs and just run that one program. And then, because the computer will just lock up, because it has to give priority to that one program. So when you have alcohol in your system, it's a toxin. It's a poison. It's what it is. And your body says everything else goes on the back burner. So your body cannot burn glucose while it's eliminating alcohol. And then it has a hard time burning fat for a while after you've drank a significant amount of alcohol. So that was my mistake this weekend. I wouldn't even say it was a mistake. I knew what I was doing. I chose to do it, and I go right back to it. I'm not going to punish myself for it. Now, I do kind of feel like I've kind of hit one of those nasty plateaus. If I go back to on 57, so go back to day 47, 220, today 218, so 10 days, not quite 2 pounds. I should be happy with that, but it is not consistent with what I've been able to do over 10-day periods. I'm not going to get frustrated about it, but I am going to see if I can do something to kind of jar things loose a little bit. So this week I'm going to be primarily carnivore, and I'm not doing that because I think carnivore is superior as an overall way of living, but I do think that basically if you do that for a week, well, you've cut your carbohydrate intake to almost zero. So sometimes just a change will actually kind of kick the body in different ways and make it do different things. So I will probably go back to eating salads and stuff this coming weekend. So for about the next 6 days, I am going to be purely carnivore. I was yesterday. I think I have a half an avocado that needs to go, and I don't want it to turn brown, so I'll eat that. But pretty much I'm going to be eating meat. I was eating lamb burgers yesterday. Lamb burger. We're doing these little lamb sliders for my workshop coming up, and I had to test them. So I did a Moroccan lamb slider. Holy crap, were those things good. And I had some pickles with them. So I say mostly carnivore. A little bit of veg, but like 10 pickle slices is like less than a carbohydrate. So that's what we're doing this week. Now, ironically, what do I have to talk to you about today is more salad hacks. I did one of my videos a while back. I think I gave you like 20 different things to put on salads other than the vegetables that goes in them to kind of add variety to your salad. And I thought, Jack, can you come up with 6 more? So I came up with 6 more. And I went, you can do better than that. So I came up with 9 more. And I went, wait a minute. My OCD's kicking in. I don't like odd numbers. I don't know what it is. But I like 10, I like 8, I like 12, but I don't like 9. So I thought about it, and I came up with a 10th one for you. So I got 10. One on cheating, because it's a type of cheese, but it's not a type of cheese I've ever talked about before. And with all my love of blue cheese, It'll give you something like that for those of you that think the taste of blue cheese is a little bit too strong. You have to wait for that. That is number 9. All right, so number 1, anchovies. And I know a lot of you like, anchovies, yuck! Didn't say to put them on a pizza, like a whole bunch of them either. Anchovies are basically a little fish. They're like basically a type of sardine. And they're cured with salt, and that's good because we need sodium. And if you have ever had and enjoyed a Caesar salad that was made properly, guess what? You make Caesar salad dressing with, dun dun dun, anchovies. And that's kind of a really cool thing you can do. And you don't have to get all complicated with it. Take a couple anchovies. Little ones that come in a jar are the best ones, right? Take them out and give them a mashup and mix them in with a good quality mayo like the Primal, Mark says it's Primal Mayo, which is an avocado mayo, and use that as a dressing. And one of the things you can do with your mayo-based dressings, especially when you use the Primal mayo, it's really thick, right? So what happens is you mix it with some other stuff in a jar or a little ramekin or something, and then you try to put it on your salad. And like half of it's in there. You can't get it out, it's so thick. So what you do is take your salad bowl and throw your mayo in there. And then throw whatever you're gonna mix with it, and then thin it a little bit. There's 2 things I can give you, actually 3 things I can give you to thin it a little bit. One, use a little bit of coconut milk if you wanna keep off the dairy. Or you can use a little bit of heavy cream, just a little bit. Or you can use a little bit of apple cider vinegar. Just a little bit. I'm talking like a 1/4 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Give it some nice tang, but it'll loosen it up. So mix it in your salad bowl. Throw your greens in your salad bowl, and then toss your greens around. You get a great coating, and then put all your other shit on your salad. If your greens are coated, you're money when it comes to salad. So anchovies, number 1. You can also just break up little crumbles of anchovies. I like that. That might be a little bit too much for most of you, but if you try anchovies and mayo, you end up with basically a Caesar dressing that's awesome. And you can make it on the fly as you need it. Just take the jar, put the lid back on it, throw the anchovies in the refrigerator. That's number 1. Number 2, pine nuts. Or as I call them, poon nuts. Why do I call them poon nuts? Because the brand I bought at Albertsons, which is one of the loose pack ones, even had a UPC symbol. My Keto Diet app, you can scan the UPC symbol and it's supposed to have data. It didn't have any, so I had to manually enter it, and I unfortunately called them poon nuts, penny nuts, and it won't let me edit that. I have to like make a new entry, and I'm too lazy, so they're poon nuts. Anyway, I love pine nuts. They have this deep, buttery, little bit of a bite richness to them. And they're just fantastic. If you've ever had pesto, it's just basil, pine nuts, and oil, olive oil. So you can make a pesto out of them, and you can put that into a salad, and that is freaking phenomenal. But just like, 1/4 ounce, 1/2 ounce of pine nuts, or as I call them, poon nuts, throw them into your salad, and they have this really unique character that comes with it. Next up, crispy beef fat. Now this assumes that your beef that you're cooking or buffalo fat works great for this too, by the way. You know it's grass-fed. If you are eating, we call it like a dirty keto, so you're using factory beef, what I recommend you do is trim as much fat as you can from your beef, use the lean of the beef, and then up your fat with things like coconut oil or avocado or things like that, okay? If you know you have good quality beef, sometimes you get a beef cut, it's got a big old chunk of fat on it, maybe a little bit much. So you might trim a little bit of that when you're cooking that steak. I love sous vide, so I'm almost always finishing my steak in a frying pan. Right, so I sous vide to my temperature and I sear in the frying pan. I'll take those little bits of fat, I'll cut them into little bite-sized pieces, and I'll leave them in the frying pan longer until they get crispy, and then I'll drain them on a towel. If I'm having salad, I'll throw them on the salad. If I'm not having salad with that meal, I'll set them aside in the refrigerator. You think pork cracklings are good? Grass-fed beef cracklings, guys, in the salad. And they kind of hide in there, and then all of a sudden you get this little crunch and this whatever you flavored the steak with. Because I go ahead and cook the fat on the steak, and then I take that excess fat. Recently, I did this with some bison fat. I bought 3 buffalo bison ribeyes for some friends, and we ate so much food on Saturday night we didn't even go into the buffalo. One of them, I just didn't notice my body. It had like a chunk of fat like that big right in the center of it. So I popped that sucker out. Yeah. I'm telling you, man. That's a good one. Next, strawberries. As you know, we kind of keep fruit moderated with keto diets. But strawberries are about the lowest carb, sweet kind of tasting fruit that you have. The thing about strawberries is even a lot of them you can add up to some carbs. But if you take 1 or 2 strawberries and you just cut them into thin slices and you add that to a salad, number one, it's incredibly visually appealing. People ask me when they see my photos of some of the food that I post, like, do you always make your food look like that? Or do you only do that when you're taking pictures? I generally always make my food look good. I take time into the presentation. When I have friends come over, I want it to look really nice. So I make a nice presentation so when I put food in front of them, they feel like I care about them, that they're special. I care about me, I'm special. So I make my food look good for me too. But the visual appeal is good. And then they have the tart, a little bit of sweet thing going on, etc. If you wanted to be a little bit sweeter, I don't really like to sweeten my strawberries. But there would be nothing wrong with cutting up maybe 1 or 2 strawberries, setting it aside, taking a little bit of erythritol sugar substitute, and just a little sprinkle, so that they don't get so sweet that they turn into syrupy, but just a little tiny sprinkle. Let them sit, and then throw them on top of the salad after they sit for a couple of minutes and kind of pull that erythritol sugar into it. I don't need it, but if you wanted a little like really hit of sweetness there, you could do that. But what that does is it gives like this kind of like this luxury feel. And I always say, don't, like my salad hacks, don't do them all the time. It gets boring, right? Mix them up. But it's like once a week your salad has strawberries and all, so you start looking forward to the strawberry-based, or the salad with strawberries in it once a week. It's a treat. And that way you buy a small amount of organic strawberries and it's plenty. Next up, how about going really luxurious? I mean, I've already said in my last one, put your main protein in there, but now it's steak, chicken, whatever. How about lobster or shrimp? How about this? You go to the grocery store and they sell those nice lobster tails about that big, right? About $7. Spoil yourself a couple times a month, once a month. Go get 1 or 2 of those babies. Take yourself a knife, and the best thing to do is get them frozen. Like they have them thawed and frozen. Go ahead and get the frozen ones. The thawed ones, they were already frozen anyway. Bring them home frozen. Take them out, let them start to defrost, but when they're still frozen, it's the best time to cut them. They'll cut much nicer for you. Take a big chef-style knife. Know what you're doing, so you don't cut yourself. Take the tip of that knife and kind of drive it in there and crack that sucker, split it in half like this. Okay? Take a pan, add some ghee to it, which is clarified butter, a little bit of garlic, and lay them in there shell side down at first until they start to turn red. And then turn them over and cook them on the flesh side down just long enough to when they easily pull out of there. Once they easily pull out of there, it will sound crazy. Trust me, I'm a professional when it comes to food. Drop them into ice water. Just drop the you can drop the shell, everything into the ice water. Okay? Save the pan drippings. We're going to need that. Okay? It's going to stop the cooking process, and your lobster's not going to overcook and get rubbery. You can do the same thing with shrimp. So the hack is shrimp or lobster. You can do it either way, but lobster's really a little more tricky. So I'm giving you. So then we stop the cooking process of the lobster. Take it out. Now that it's nice and cold because it was in the ice water, it'll cut beautifully for you in nice little pieces. Right? When you're ready to then make your salad up, get it all ready to go. The lobster goes on top. Warm the pan till that ghee and the lobster leavings and the garlic is all just starting to warm back up again. Throw the pieces of lobster or shrimp back in there and just give it a toss until you warm it through. Don't make it hot. Just warm it through, and then the butter, the garlic, the lobster on top of the salad. About $7 to do that for yourself once a month. Yeah, diet food. It works. And now, if you need to up your fat that day, add an avocado, add a little bit more ghee, throw some coconut oil on the salad, avocado oil, whatever, right? You can bring the fat and control the fat. Don't be afraid of lean things, when it comes to this. Next up, everybody talks about vegetables in salad. And tomatoes and peppers are something a lot of people will use in a salad. And if you're keto, you want to kind of keep an eye on how much of that. Because tomatoes definitely, and peppers, if you really do it, if you're already close on your carbs, you can go over. But a little bit's fine. But you know what's amazing? Instead of taking 2 ounces of cherry tomatoes and just chopping them up and putting them in your salad, when you're about ready to have your salad, take your cherry tomatoes and cut them in half. Get some coconut oil or some olive oil or some butter. Throw the tomatoes and some peppers in there if you want to. Maybe even some chili peppers if you like a little heat. And just cook them in the pan till they start to rupture and break. And then add that to your salad. Just kind of warm on the top. A few of the leaves will wilt. The rest of it stays nice and cool and crisp. Simple, easy. Takes 5 extra minutes. Right? Maybe you take that one and add it to the salad one. I'm just just suggesting it. Maybe if you did that, you would throw your tomatoes in when you reheated it. So you throw the tomatoes in, let them start to blister and all, and then throw the lobster in to reheat it, toss that, put that. Just an idea. You know, like I said, food's a thing for me. Next, and a lot of times you can buy this instead of making your own. A lot of stores sell it pre-made, Pico de Gallo. I mean, all it is cilantro, tomatoes, onions, and jalapenos, if you want to make it yourself. The reason they call it Pico de Gallo is like pick of the rooster. The gallo is the chicken, the rooster, right? So it's like little pica. That's where the name comes from. So it's important that they're all kind of little diced pieces about the same size. Well, they have these big industrial food processors at your grocery store. They just throw everything in there and it comes out. Flavor explosion. And it's, you got to, you know, calculate the carbs, but a couple tablespoons of that on a salad, especially if you're going kind of in the direction of like a taco salad. Maybe you mashed up half an avocado, you did some beef that's like got some chili going on, Pico de Gallo, boom. It's like salsa, but it's not all saucy. And I like salsa in some things in some ways, but I don't want salsa on a salad. With Pico de Gallo, boom. Yeah, like I said, I'm into food. And then how about smoked salmon? Smoked salmon, and it doesn't have to be a salmon salad. Right, we can just take maybe an ounce or two of smoked salmon locks. Locks are the thin pieces. I really like to use that because you can, you know, you weigh out an ounce or two of it and slice it into like thin ribbons and include that into your salad. The catch with smoked salmon, you got to look at the ingredients. Some of it has a lot of sugar in it. So I found a brand, I can't think of the name right now, but we had it on our meat and cheese platter that we did for our guests this weekend. That was a salmon lox, 0 sugar. None. You can pretty much use much of that as you damn well please, as long as you know you don't go stupid on calories for the day. So that's smoked salmon, man. You can use lox, you can use chunky, whatever, and you can learn to smoke your own salmon. I'm a big fan of Butcher Box. I know Thomas Lure is too. People from my audience get a discount on Butcher Box, $10 a month. I mean, that buys an extra slab of bacon and a little bit more every month. But they do salmon, and they do wild-caught salmon. If you want smoked salmon and you can't find salmon smoked the way you want it, learn to smoke salmon. It ain't hard. And it is good on salad. Next up, this is the one, it's a little bit of a cheat on my hacks because I kind of said cheese, obviously, last time. But feta cheese. Feta cheese is a great quality cheese. And people have some dairy sensitivity, but not like extreme. A lot of times, like if you can eat dairy, but it's not the best thing for you, a lot of times feta is about the best cheese that you can eat because of where it comes from and how it's made, etc. It also has that kind of crumbly, it gets a little melty, but it doesn't melt like cheddar thing that blue cheese has. And a lot of people just, when you tell them blue cheese, it's too strong. I love it. It is, I mean, if you want heaven for me, it's really good buffalo chicken wings, celery, and blue cheese dressing. I could eat that a couple times a week and no problem. But feta has less of that bite of the mold that's in blue cheese. Yes, I know it's mold. It tastes good. It's good for you too. But the feta, and you can even do like a feta mixed in with mayo to do kind of like a blue cheese without the blue part. If you do that, crack some fresh, good quality black pepper into that. Maybe even throw that anchovy in there. I'm not saying I ever did it or anything. I'm just saying if you do that, you might like it. Trust me. And then our last one. Have you ever had a Waldorf salad? It's kind of off the menu when you're on keto because it has a bunch of apples in it. But basically, it's a typical salad with apples and walnuts. If there was only a way to get the flavor of apples into a salad without having like 4 carbohydrates an ounce. Because you need about 2 ounces of apple in a salad to kind of really offset it and give it that kind of character to it that you're looking for. Hey, what if you could do that for 2 ounces or 2 grams of carbohydrate? Is that even possible? How would you ever do such a thing? My friends, it is a South American crop, South American tuber called Chemica, or Chemica, because the J sounds like an H, Chemica. But it's J, I can never spell it right. I always spell the damn thing wrong. Let me look over here. It is Jicama is how you spell it, Jicama. And those are a great big brown turnip. And about the only downside is they keep really well in the refrigerator. If you don't wrap them up, just leave them like that. But once you cut them, they do kind of you got to kind of use them up. They're usually like a ½ pound. So you kind of got to figure out what to do with them to make it worth buying one. Looking for smaller ones will help with that. But 2 ounces in your salad is exactly, when you do net carbs, 2.2 carbs. So assuming you have a couple carbs you can add to that salad, you take about 2 ounces of Chemica and you, instead of cutting it in pieces like an apple, take a cheese grater on the coarse setting and grate it into long pieces. That way the flavor carries longer and goes through more places in the salad, and add walnuts. And now you have a low carb Waldorf salad. How cool is that? So there you go. There's 10, count them 10, plus the other, I think 20 I gave you in the last video, like 30 salad hacks. And that will liven up your salads, man. What am I going to do next? Well, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, but I know that within the next week or two, I'm going to come back with you with like a good half dozen keto soups and stews. And I feel like I need to do this. Like somebody with my culinary palate that actually knows what keto means needs to do this, because I just figured I'd look some keto soups up. And when I start looking up keto soups and a cup has 14 freaking carbs in it, that dog, as we say in rural Pennsylvania where I grew up hunting, that dog does not hunt. That is not keto. 14 freaking net carbs in a cup of soup is not keto, does not keto make. Some of them were okay, but most of them were in that neighborhood of like 10 carbs or more to a 3/4 to a 1 cup serving. Now, I don't know about you, but when I eat soup, it's kind of like I want to have soup and something else. Soup and salad, maybe a little more protein in there, depending on what's in it. I usually don't, if it's a stew, I might sit down to a meal, but a soup, it's kind of an extra thing that goes with the meal. So I want my soups to be in the neighborhood of 2 to 6, with 6 being the top. Now, if it's a stew, it's going to be a whole meal, and I keep it under 10, and it's a treat, that's fine. Because there's one more tip I want to give you today before we wrap up. You know how you can have 20 carbs? Okay. Or whatever carb limit you set for yourself. If you're on a 2 meal a day program, do not eat 0 carbs in the morning or the afternoon, and then 20 at night. That's a lot of carbs in one sitting. 20 carbs is meant to be divided up over your day, and that's one of the little things that can cause those plateaus. That's another thing to check. If you're plateauing, are you eating most of your carbs in one meal? If so, spread them out a little bit more. Anyway, with that, as always, your cause of and solution to all your problems can be found probably in your bathroom. Most people have a mirror in there. You go look in that mirror, that face looking back at you, that's the one that makes the decisions about what you shove in your face. And that thing on the floor with numbers on it that you step on, that scale, can be your friend or your enemy. You follow keto, you'll start considering that sucker friendly. Take care, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.